And thanks everyone for joining us today, whether you're here in the moment or you're watching this recording virtually afterwards. It's our pleasure to get the opportunity to introduce all of you to the Ontario Centres of Excellence, formerly OCE, for some of you who've been around the ecosystem for quite a while. And just to set a little bit of background, so OCI has been a longtime partner of the DMZ. I think even when I first started working at the DMZ, Manny was involved in terms of talking to our founders and our startups about programs, offering and potential investment opportunities that at the time OCE, now OCI, made available to startups in our program. I think at one point, Manny, you and I were kind of joking the other day that the vast majority of your portfolio in a year came from the DMZ, and you actually got some grief from some folks saying, don't just give all the love to DMZ companies. And so, we've been talking over the past little while, there's been a lot of changes that have happened, and we thought it would be really good for all of you to get some exposure to the different programs and offerings that OCI has. And so I'm going to pass it over shortly to our friends from OCI to introduce themselves and to walk you through the PowerPoint. Just for some housekeeping, if we're going to keep questions to the end, though, if you have any questions that come out through the presentation, feel free to throw them in the chat, and we'll get to them at the end just so that you don't forget them. And we do have this as a recording, so we will be sending this out to all of you afterwards. And so without any further ado, I'd like to pass the floor over to OCI to introduce themselves to all of you and take them through the presentation. And thanks both of you for coming here again today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Shane, for the introduction. And yeah, I can kick things off. First of all, thank you everyone for making the time to join this session. I hope that by the end you walk out with a good idea of the resources that we have available and the different ways we can support you in your innovation journey, but also with a good context on how and when you can access the different resources available with us. Now, I'm Fernanda Navarro. I'm a business development manager at OCI based in the GTA and the main contact for DMZ. On the line, I think we have Mandy Prihal, one of my colleagues, business development manager as well. And of course, Manny Kalia, investment lead. Manny, any words for the audience?
I'll quickly introduce myself as well, guys. My name is Manny Kalia. I'm the investment lead for the Market Readiness Initiative. So this is one of those initiatives where we invest in the organization. So that's a portfolio I handle. But Fernanda will provide the details of the portfolio and how the process works.
Fantastic. Thank you, Manny. And without further ado, OCI, as Shane mentioned, we used to be called the Ontario Centre of Excellence. You might have some context from that. Early this year, we rebranded, and now we're Ontario Centre of Innovation to better show what we're looking to do. We're a non-for-profit organization funded by the Government of Ontario, specifically by the Ministry of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade. And our core mandate and reason to exist is to ensure or support rather the creation and commercialization of IP in the province, and ensuring that Ontario remains relevant from a technology and innovation perspective, and most importantly, that everyone across the province can benefit out of all this innovation and exciting technology creation that's happening across the province. So that's our main goal. Now, what can we do really to make this happen? There's a few things that we can do. One thing that I want to highlight is that we, first of all, ensure that we have presence across the province. So we have business development managers based north, south, east, and west to ensure that we have that pan-provincial coverage. Each of these business development managers are also looking to foster a close relationship with the different innovation stakeholders across the regions, so that when we're engaging with entrepreneurs just like yourself, we can help you navigate that innovation ecosystem. We can connect you with some key players that can help you solve some of the challenges you're facing at the moment. So that's one key piece that we do, is that connect. But we also have technical and I would say funds available. to help you solve some of these challenges as well, and help you get to the next stages in your journey. Now, as I mentioned, this pan-provincial coverage is really important to us. This map shows the different locations where we've deployed projects in the past 5 years. And so, yeah, we're really interested in ensuring that we're not only creating technologies everywhere, but also that the benefits out of innovation reach even the remotest locations if possible. And I would encourage everyone on the line to take this vision as well and think about how your technology can not only benefit like urban and those like key places that we all can think of, but expand your vision and think how can you like expand your market opportunities beyond like we think every day. So serve those remote communities as well. Now, in terms of programs that we have available, so beyond this dot connect that we can do. In this slide is showing you like the span of programs that we have available right now. Starting on the left, in the blue square, we have a program that's really focused on smart mobility, the AVEN program that's actually being revamped. And it's going to cover not only autonomous vehicles, but also electrification of transportation. This program will, like the details will be announced soon. So not a lot of information to share at the moment, but know that something's coming up for that specific space. The next program that we can see in this little slide is the Encore 5G. In the past, until quite recently, we actually were able to fund projects related to 5G. Right now, we continue to offer free access to any company where 5G is relevant. Let's say that maybe you want to see how your solution performs in a 5G environment, or maybe you want to do some development work and ensure that your solution is actually ready for when 5G is commercially available. Right now, we offer this technical research. I'll get into the details later in the presentation, but we have something related to 5G as well. The next program, it's the Next Generation Network Program. This program actually closed recently, but again, just like even something's cooking, something will come up soon. And yeah, we'll keep you posted once we have more information. The next program that Manny is leading, it's the market readiness, where OCI is actually able to invest in early stage companies. And I'll dive into the details right next in the presentation. Finally, we also have the voucher for innovation and productivity. It's a grant program that supports R&D and IP creation. And I'll speak about it in detail as well. Now, let's kick things off with market readiness. I'm sure that might be applicable to quite a few folks that are on the line today. I'd like to start just by outlining our investment thesis. And just as a reminder, we're funded by the government of Ontario through taxpayers' money. And that's why there's always this focus on Ontario-based companies. Those are the types of companies that we can invest in. Other things that we'll look for in terms of for these funds to become available, companies that are creating disruptive next generation technologies. Maybe they are IP rich. There's some IP strategy back there to help them keep a sustainable competitive advantage on the solution they are creating. And really they have early evidence of a scalable, repeatable business models. And the pain points or markets they are looking to serve are substantial. So there's a big opportunity out there for them to see. I'll get into the details in terms of the eligibility later in the presentation, but something that I do want to highlight is that we're looking to support companies that are proud to be Ontario, that are looking to set roots in Ontario. However, they are still having this our ambition and have like this global vision. But we want to ensure that there's still this strong connection to Ontario, and that again, we can see that in terms of strategic roles are created in the province and those sort of things. So those are like the key things that we'll look for to support with market readiness. A key thing to note, and I want to make this really clear, this is not a grant, this is an investment, and we'll get into the details. Now, OCI, it's one of the most active pre-seed stage investors in the province. And this is also something to note, it's a co-investment fund. And the reason for this, it's a few, but one to mention is OCI cannot take a lead role in an investment. We can only follow the terms that are set by the lead investor. That's why the best time for OCI to come into your round is once you have some traction with investors, once you've secured the terms for your raise. That's the perfect time to engage with us, and we can help you close that round, and so that you can move on into execution. OCI has invested in more than 230 companies to date, and that's quite exciting. And just to provide you a little bit of context on some companies from DMZ that we've actually invested on, here's quite a few, and you'll see each of them are creating different types of technology, addressing different types of markets. So really the scope that we can support, it's broad, and it's more about really how we're looking to create this innovation and these opportunities that we are unlocking and disrupting different markets. Now, from an eligibility criteria, when is the best time to access these funds? Well, the first thing that we'll look into is the incorporation date, and it's important to note difference between corporation and operation. So yeah, really important to look into when was a company incorporated, because we're looking for those that have been incorporated for less than 5 years. We're also, from an eligibility perspective, companies that have raised less than 1 million in previous rounds, from excluding any friends and family funds that we've been able to secure. And also the ideal stage that we support is the pre-series A rounds. So if you're raising between 500,000 all the way to 2 million, that's the perfect time for us to come in and support you in your raise. The next thing that's really key here, it's an affiliation to academia. So market readiness, the main or the primary purpose it was created is to support any IP that has been created in universities and colleges, and that a business has been created out of that particular IP. However, to be able to expand our ability to support innovation and entrepreneurs, we can also support companies that are affiliated through by being part of a campus-linked accelerator. So by being part of DMZ, you're actually eligible for market readiness. So that's very exciting. Now, in terms of funds available, OCI has two set amounts that can invest on a company. One is for 125,000. The other one is for 250,000. Usually, what we like to do is first investment in early stage in your product development and market traction. We will probably invest you $125,000, and that way on your next round we can invest 250 and have help you throughout different stages of your journey. Now as I mentioned, we follow the terms of a lead investor. We don't set the terms. That means that we can support either a convertible debenture type of raise or an equity round as well. So we are really flexible and open, and we're really more looking for the validation of the professional accredited investors on the particular opportunity. In terms of the process, everything begins with a conversation with an OCI business development manager, where we present what we're looking to do, our pitch. Once the business development manager sees that the company is ready, that the pitch is ready, we can move on into the pre-screening stage, which is a pitching to our internal investment team. They will look at the opportunity from an eligibility and suitability standpoint. And It's important to note that in a year, we invest in between 20 to 30 companies. It can be competitive, and we want to ensure that we won't waste your time. So at this stage, at the pre-screening stage, we'll also see and ensure that you are actually ready to move on and to pitch to the external reviewers, because we know we have a good idea on what's successful and what's maybe too early. So we will make sure that at this stage we're being transparent. We're working with you and making sure that you are actually ready, so that when we submit the application and go through the process, you're at the best, at your best self and ready really for those next stages. Now, once we receive green light from the internal investment team, we can actually open an application. It consists on some documentation to present the opportunity to the external reviewers, and a few reference goals that we do just to validate the company. Something to note is for us to be able to open an application and thinking that we will follow the terms set by the lead investor, we do need at this stage to have the signed term sheet for a convertible note or the subscription agreement for a price round, because it's part of the due diligence that we do just to ensure that everything is good for us to move forward. So that usually I've seen this to be the bottleneck for us to be able to move forward on the process. Once we have that, we can open an application, and the whole process can take 6 to 8 weeks. And something to note, the end of the application consists on a pitch to a panel of external reviewers that will have reviewed the documentation we provided. They will be making the final recommendation, invest or not invest, based on their experience as investors, but also based on their experience in the particular industry field that we're playing in. So that's market readiness. The next program that I'll discuss is the Voucher for Innovation and Productivity. This is a grant program. Market readiness is an investment. VIP, it's a grant. The goal is, or the way to think about VIP, let's say that you have your product roadmap, there's some pieces that you're looking to solve. Maybe you want to improve your algorithm, or maybe you want to add AI to your solution, or maybe your product needs certain features to be more competitive, or even maybe you're looking to optimize your manufacturing process. All of these are good projects that can be supported through the VIP. The idea is that we determine this particular industry challenge that we're looking to solve. And we take it to universities and colleges, find a researcher with the right experience and the lab resources to help us solve that particular piece of the puzzle, so that we can implement it in our own solution, take it to market, and be successful. That's the whole goal of the VIP. And one key thing that we'll look is that once the project is completed, it can be commercialized within 2 years after the project is completed. From an eligibility perspective, this is available for companies that are between 2 years since incorporate, or 2 years or more. I would say it's more like the minimum threshold is 2 years incorporation and at least 5 full-time employees. Now, funds available, OCI can support with funds from $20,000 all the way to $150,000. However, it's important to note that funds will go to the academic institution that's helping to advance the project. So the cash won't go to the company, to the academic institution. And the company will have to match those amounts, 50% in cash paid to the academic institution, 50% spent internally at the company. So a good way to see this is just an opportunity to lessen the burden internally to develop something on your product that maybe might need a specialized knowledge available in universities and colleges. You can leverage funds to advance and expertise to advance that particular challenge, solve it, and in the meantime, your team can focus on other things. So that's a good use case for VIP. To provide more context in terms of how the funds work, let's say that you have a project that's the budget is a total of $100,000. The way that it would work out, OCI will pay $50,000 to the academic institution, the company would have to pay $25,000 to the academic institution. The remaining $25,000 can be contributed in, let's say, time that an employee will be spending on the project. So less cash burden for the company from that perspective. And give me 1 second. Apologies for that. So I just described the VIP standalone. We also have a partnership with NSERC. So it's similar mechanic with a couple of differences. First, these can support projects that are up to $90,000. The total budget is split between OCI that can contribute up to $30,000 in this scenario, and NSERC that can contribute up to $30,000. The remaining third of the budget is contributed by the company in the same mechanic, 50% in cash, 50% in kind spent internally. And this is for projects that are up to 12 months. So a little smaller scope, I would say, versus a standalone, but you can leverage a little bit more for your dollar. Now, okay, so the process, just as MR, for a VIP, everything starts with a conversation with an OCI team member. If you already have a professor in mind, the idea is that we have a conversation involving the academic institution, the company, and OCI, and discuss the project. If you don't have a professor in mind, but you do have a project, we can help you find someone that's a fit. After this initial conversation, and when we ensure that their eligibility and suitability is there, we prepare a one-pager of the project. Both the academic institution and company work on this vetting document that will be reviewed by the internal team just to ensure that it meets program guidelines. When we receive green light at this vetting stage, we actually can open a full application and move forward in the process. From a timeline perspective, I would say once the application is submitted, it takes for a VIP standalone between 4 to 6 weeks to get a final decision. For a VIP NSERC, the partnership we have, it can take a little longer, between 7 to 10 weeks until we hear back once the application has been submitted. The final program that I will cover today, it's the Encore 5G. As I mentioned, these are test beds with several resources available on site to support really, the idea is that we get companies ready for when 5G is commercially available in a broad way. We do collaborate with a few partners, including Ericsson and Sienna. And beyond the 5G private network that we have in one of 3 locations, one based in Ottawa, one here in GTA, and one in Waterloo, we also have additional resources on the hub, including 5G ready smartphones, antennas. We also have Google Glass and Stella X AR/VR devices for anyone that's creating an AR/VR related solution so that they can test it in a 5G network. So here are some of the 5G testbed capabilities. And this is actually, right now, the application process is really simple at this point. Anyone can actually access the testbed. And I would say we will have funds coming up quite possibly soon. So this is a great opportunity to get into the 5G testbed, see what's there, and start thinking of maybe a bigger project that you can do, thinking about maybe your product roadmap. There's something that you might want to try out. It's a great opportunity to get familiar, to do like a small project and start thinking once you can get funding for a project, for a bigger project, what could that look like, and get that advantage out of this experience. This is free, this is easy to apply. So yeah, I would encourage anyone just to check it out. And finally, I really wanted to leave you with this little graphic that I hope helps provide like a visual perspective on when are the different programs available to you. From a company journey perspective, I would say the Anchor 5G is actually available even at the ideation stage, available for professors and students that are interested in just checking it out. But yeah, here it's just a visual that I'll leave you so that it serves as a guideline on when can I access the different resources available at the OCI. And with that, here is our contact information. I also do office hours as exclusive for DMZ, Tuesdays 1 p.m. The next one is November 16 and November 30. You can always shoot us an email or we can meet at those office hours. And with that, I'll open the floor for questions.